Hi, I'm Jamie Smart, and in this episode of the Results Mindset podcast, we're going to be doing something a little bit different because what you're about to hear is the recording of a one-to-one coaching session I did with one of my clients, Tanya Alexander, on one of my other podcasts, the Profitable Coaches podcast. Now, the reason I'm releasing this episode here is because of what I was coaching Tanya around. So, Tanya's doing a program of mine called Escape Velocity, the Transition Blueprint, and during that program, people get one-to-one coaching in a group context. But when Tanya came on for her coaching session, what she wanted to get coaching around was a number of fears. So agoraphobia, claustrophobia, fear of flying, and kind of generalized anxiety. And so the reason I thought that would be such a great topic for this podcast is because the solution to those is the same as it is for all our fears, all our anxieties and worries, whether it's just feeling anxious about an exam you're going to take, or about public speaking, or about, I don't know, your job, or anything like that. It turns out that the answer is always the same. So I thought this would be a great episode for the Results Mindset podcast. And if you're a coach or a therapist or trainer and you want to listen to more of these coaching sessions, or in fact, if you're just interested in hearing more of this kind of stuff, you can subscribe to the Profitable Coaches practice and by heading over to jamiesmart.com/PCP. So without further ado, here's me coaching Tanya.
I'm Jamie Smart, and you're listening to the Results Mindset podcast, the show that helps you have less on your mind so you can achieve the results that matter to you and enjoy the journey every step of the way.
So you're the first stop tonight, and so we're just going to kind of ease into it and see where we get to, Tanya.
Yeah.
So what would be wonderful for you on this call?
I put a post up yesterday about being claustrophobic.
Oh, now I didn't read that yet. So
Okay.
Do you want to just praise it for me, or would it be better if I read it?
No, it was just something around, I'm right, okay, so I've been a therapist for 8 years. I can work with lots of people.
I did read it.
Yeah.
Yes. Remind me anyway for everyone who's here.
So I've been a therapist for years. I can help lots of other people and I can give them the belief system. And so I do hypnotherapy, NLP, and I came across you, Jamie, when you was with Salad, so years ago.
Long time ago.
I've got lots of your DVDs and stuff.
Thank you.
Going back from there, and then I picked you up about 5 years ago, and it went straight over the top of my head, and now I've kind of slowly caught up. So,
Great.
But the anxiety and claustrophobia, agoraphobia, I suppose, has been going on for about 9 years now, and I just cannot ditch it. My mind is like, okay, you know better than this, and do you know what I mean? But then,
oh yeah, no, that doesn't help, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
No. Well, so that's good to know that we can rule out the option of telling yourself you know better than this isn't actually an effective approach. So we don't have to spend any time on that one.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you a couple of questions?
Sure.
You said it's been going on for 9 years, and you don't have to go into detail, but was there a kind of a line you crossed or something that happened that all of a sudden you had this?
It was from the age of, so lots of different things have happened from the age of 11.
Okay. But you said it started 9 years ago.
It got so that I couldn't leave the house 9 years ago.
Oh, okay. So it got...
Yeah. So it got gradually worse and worse and worse.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I'm fine now. I can leave the home. Do you know what I mean? But there's still times where I think, holy shit balls, do you know what I mean? Get your shit together.
Yeah, you sometimes get scared.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I've worked with countless coaches, therapists, change workers, healers over the years. And like a quick show of hands, who in here has something or certain situations or certain things where they get the collywobbles to some degree?
Yeah, like lots of people do. So
I just feel so alone.
yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone.
Okay,
And so if Tanya, if I could like wave a magic wand and you wake up tomorrow and everything's the way you want it to be, like a miracle has happened in the night kind of thing, how would you know that had happened? Like, how you wake up tomorrow morning and you can tell right away that something's different, and as you go about your day you realize that that thing that you were telling us about and that you wrote about, you'd left it behind. How would you know?
This is the thing. I wouldn't, because I don't put myself in situations where I test it.
So it may already have
exactly.
You may already have got over it.
Yeah.
So you could actually be unwittingly have got over it 5 years ago, like you've gone around thinking you still had it.
Yeah. So I won't get in a lift.
Okay, so if what would happen if you did?
I'd get the sweats. I've been stuck in 3 lifts.
How did it turn out?
I got out. Obviously, I'm here. But I kind of go on this big avoidance journey of like, oh, there's a lift, I'll do 1,000 steps instead.
Well, that probably has advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
So,
not when you're in a hurry, though, Jamie.
yeah. No, I get it. So, well, what would you like to have happen on this call, Tanya?
I'd just like to kind of dump it.
And let's say you did. Let's say you dumped it. How would you know that you had?
I'd probably have to go in a lift.
Oh, okay. Well, now that's interesting, because there's something interesting I just want to kind of point out, which is when I asked you, how would you know that you dumped it? You said, oh, I'd probably have to go in a lift. Well, you could. You might even want to. Like, here's an interesting thing, Tanya. I've found that when I've worked with people around kind of anxieties, like we're talking about,
mm-hmm.
that once they start to see through it, they then become kind of curious. They want to test it. They want to try it out. And I'm all in favor of that, because as a lift rider myself, I regularly go in lifts if there's somewhere I need to. Though I'll tell you a story. We do a life transformation retreat every year in the Canaries, and so this was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We were doing it in Lanzarote, and we were staying in this hotel, and it was one of these big, like, I don't know, an H10 or something, and on the ground floor, it had the dining room, so everyone would go there for breakfast and stuff. And then it had this huge sweeping staircase that went up 2 stories, but each story was like 3 stories in a regular house. So it was like this huge sweeping staircase up to the lobby. And so it was probably a 3 or 4 minute walk to get from the ground floor up all these stairs to the lobby. I don't know how many there were, 100 or 150 stairs. So I come out of breakfast, and I'm standing there waiting for the lift, because there's one of those glass elevators that goes up the inside of the building. So I'm standing there waiting for the lift, and all of a sudden I notice that the people who are waiting for the lift with me are all about 15 years older than me, and they're using like walkers and canes and things. And I suddenly realized these folks, These folks have to take the lift. They're like, they've got replacement hips or whatever. They can't use the stairs. And I made a decision right there. I was like, from now on, I'm not taking a lift until I need one. I'm not letting a porter carry my bag until I can't carry one. It was like a real game changer for me. So the funny thing is, I don't want you to have to take a lift until you have to. So I'm glad that you don't have to. But you can.
Okay.
Now, Tanya, if I understood correctly,
Mm-hmm.
when I read your post, there was something about, hey, I work with my clients, but I can't do this thing for myself, kind of thing.
Yep.
Was that what was going on?
I think that was around, about the being in the moment thing, where, with anxiety, obviously you're projecting into the future about things that could happen, and you don't even know if they're going to happen because you're not even there yet. And it's around, because I'm a wedding photographer as well, I'm not just a therapist.
Yeah.
So and I can pretty much go anywhere and do anything with a camera in front of my face, because while I'm doing that, I can't possibly think of anything else.
Yeah.
And it was that realization, really, that perhaps I just need to get in the lift with my camera.
Well, that might be interesting.
I'll just take lots of photos.
Well, it'd be interesting to find out. Like, what would happen if you did that?
I don't know. I'd have to try it out, Jamie.
Okay.
I can see where this is going.
Where's it going?
That I need to try it. I need to try it. And then the other thing is, right, it's not just a lift. I really want to travel. It's planes. Anybody else here don't like flying? Please, somebody else put their hand up.
Well, let's see. Anyone freaked out about flying? Richard? Yeah. Yep.
Nobody else. I really just no.
Well, but here's the thing, Tanya. I've worked with a lot of people around fear of flying. And you know what I've discovered? When I dig into it with them, they're not afraid of flying. I was talking to someone the other day about it. What was it? I can't even remember who it was. But I said, well, tell me about it. How does it work? Like, when do you start getting scared? And he said, as soon as I book the tickets. As soon as I book the tickets, I start getting scared. And I said, when does it stop? And he said, about 10 minutes after takeoff.
Yeah.
I said to him, great, you're not afraid of flying. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you're afraid of flying, you would be at your most terrified the whole time you're in the air, and you wouldn't be afraid before or after. He said, so what am I afraid of? I said, you're afraid of thinking about flying.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, Tanya. The issue isn't that you sometimes get uncomfortable feelings when you imagine flying in the future, or when you imagine getting into the elevator in the future. The issue isn't that you sometimes get uncomfortable feelings when you think about those. That's not an issue. The issue is you believe those feelings are giving you information about the future. And that's not a thing. I'll show you. Or I would show you if I had a piece of paper with me. I know. I think I may have the photograph of this in the group. Just a sec. Because I drew it for Denise. Here it is. I've got it. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. This is a really important photograph, Tanya, which I'm going to show you. Can you see that picture?
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you could understand it, there's a timeline across the center running from now to the future, okay? And there's a person. And here's a future event, that asterisk. Now, that asterisk could represent a flight that you've got booked, or a ride in a lift that you've got planned, or a talk you're going to do, or any number of things. Now, the issue, and so you just like everyone else, you book a flight, or you plan to ride in a lift, or you plan to do a talk or something, and sometimes you'll think about it beforehand. You'll think about that future event. And it will seem to you, you'll get feelings, because that's what we do. We feel stuff. And it will seem to you like that feeling has got something to do with the future event. But here's the thing, those two lines down the middle are just saying that future event, it doesn't exist. There's no way that feelings can be coming from the future back into the present, because that would require time travel.
Yeah.
And time travel is not yet a thing. So that's a trick of the mind. And you said, you try and tell yourself, come on, you know this, blah, blah, blah. But we don't know this. We get genuinely and honestly tricked. And we believe that our feelings are giving us information about the future. Like I could see when you said earlier about, I'd have to get in a lift. You felt that, right? Like, well, now, and it genuinely seemed to you like those feelings were coming from that future lift ride, right?
Yeah.
You got tricked by your perception. And that happens to all of us, Tanya. That's not just you, that's everyone. That's everyone. And it takes, it's not about telling yourself that you know this. It's more about kind of marveling at how amazing the system is. That it can create what seems like a real experience, when in fact it's just not. That's absolutely not possible. That's not a thing. We don't live in Back to the Future. We live in now. We always live in now. You've never spent even a second in the future or the past. Every moment in your life you've spent right now. But that's not how it looks. It seems like we can feel the future and the past and other people and catastrophes and all kinds of things. But we're always living in the feeling of thought. And we're always going to be. Which means that at the psychological level, you are perfectly safe. Now, Tanya, as you listen to me talking about this, what are you noticing, if anything?
is really interesting because as much as you can try and help yourself, it's not until you have that conversation with somebody else that it really makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like, you can read lots of self-help books and stuff, and I've done all of that, and I can listen to videos upon videos, but it's not until somebody actually takes you through that process. I just feel really calm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so do I, Tanya. I feel very connected to you. And that calm feeling, that's coming from you. That's at the heart of your being. And believe it or not, that's always there within you. That doesn't mean you're always going to be feeling that or consciously aware of that. But the reason I can have this conversation with you and, feel confident that you're going to land there is because I know that that's what's there in everybody. It's there in all your clients. It's there in everyone on this call. It's there in everyone on this planet. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, this is good, Tanya. This is good.
Sorry.
This is good. Just breathe. Just breathe.
But I feel super calm.
I know.
Super calm.
Just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. I'm going to stay with you just for a couple of more minutes because I could feel that there are things that are like there's a way in which when you're hanging out in this feeling, when you're kind of just being present to yourselves, you could say, you're learning. I think of it almost like a system update. And the beautiful thing about this, Tanya, is when we get one of these kind of spiritual system updates, it can take years of habitual outside in thinking off our minds. Like I remembered when I was reading your post, I thought, oh, Tanya's ready for things to change. I really liked it. Just keep breathing, Tanya. And here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to pause your microphone for the moment and go to the next person. But are you okay to just hang out with us here for the rest of the call, and then I'll check back in with you towards the end?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. And just take it nice and easy. Just kind of having found yourself in that quiet, calm feeling. Just enjoy it. Spend as long as you like there. It might sometimes be tempting to kind of jump back into your head and that sort of thing, but you can just go, no, I think I'll hang out here for a while.
Cool. I'm happy hanging.
Right on.
So that's the session. And like I said, it was recorded during a group coaching session for members of my Escape Velocity Transition Blueprint program. So what happened after this session was I coached some of the other people who were there with us for this call, from people from all over the world. And then I circled back to Tanya at the end of the session to find out how she was doing, kind of half an hour, 35 minutes later. So I thought you might like to hear that bit. So that's what's coming next.
So Tanya, anything to report?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, I'm feeling really calm. I've gone through the system reboot, which is great. It's been pretty emotional actually for about an hour or so. In and out of feeling tearful, but I just feel really calm. And even just thinking about getting into a lift, it's just nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it escapes me. Get it?
I get it.
Yeah, which is really lovely, and I just feel super calm.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, if you're in a position to, just take it nice and easy the rest of the evening.
Will do. Go and have an early night, I think, or journal.
All right, Tanya.
Thanks.
You take care.
Thank you. Big hugs.
Have a good one, everyone. Thanks as ever. I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you want to experience a clear mind more of the time with better performance and bigger results, here's what to do next. Discover your personal clarity quotient by answering 20 simple questions at jamiesmart.com/CQ. This quick and easy questionnaire gives you a snapshot of your current state of mind, and it's totally free. You'll find out your stress score and your engagement score, as well as getting some ideas about how you can improve your overall clarity quotient. It'll only take you a few minutes to do, and you can get it for free at jamiesmart.com/CQ. And finally, I want to ask you a favor that'll only take you 30 seconds or even less, and it'll make a huge difference to me, my guests, and our community. If you like this show, then please let me and my guests know. And the quickest, easiest ways you can do this right now is subscribe to this podcast, because that's how you can let us know you like it. It's super easy, and it would really mean a lot to me. Just head over to iTunes right now, search for The Results Mindset, then click on the show and hit subscribe. Once again, it'll only take you 30 seconds or even less, and it'll make a big difference to me, because it helps people who resonate with my work to find this podcast. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate your help, so go ahead and subscribe now. Thanks for listening.